Hello, listeners, and thanks for tuning in to Master English with Tim, the intermediate to advanced podcast where Tim helps you to master English by paying attention to the details of the language and never hurrying. I'm Tim, native speaker English teacher from the U.S., polyglot, world traveler, and author of several resources for learning English, including this podcast, now in its 73rd episode. In this episode, I'm going to talk about some words from the NGSL. The NGSL, or New General Service List, is a list of the 2,800 most used words in English. Each word has a number, and the lower the number is, the more often that word is used. For example, the words at the beginning have numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and are words like the and be and an and of. So, at the beginning of the list, you've got these words that are used all the time. And in this week's episode, though, I'm going to tell you the meanings and examples of words from the middle of the list, starting with word number 1,511. If you're more interested in this topic of the NGSL, then you can go back to episode 2, where I talk about it, the list itself, and where the words came from in quite a bit of detail. But let's get started with word number 1,511, which is bond. Now, this word has several different meanings, and each one might seem to not always have a connection with the others, but in reality, all of them have something to do with connecting. So let's start with one meaning. First is noun. And this meaning is a strong and lasting emotional connection. So, 1. There is no bond that is stronger or more important than the one between mother and child. 2. There is such a strong bond between them that they finish each other's sentences when they're talking. 3. We're such good friends that I don't think anything could break the bond between us. 4. A strong bond formed between us within just hours, and we have been friends ever since. 5. Some people say emotional bonds are not created overnight, while others believe this is possible and even that it happens often. 6. Intense emotional bonds often break down as quickly as they form. 7. The bond between the friends started to weaken during the years they lived apart. So they decided to maintain their bond by talking on the telephone once a week. 8. The bond that she shared with her husband for years shattered or broke when she found out he had not just a second, but also a third family in other cities. 9. They rebuilt their damaged bond by talking together with a psychologist. 10th and last for this meaning, the bond between the members of a team strengthen in difficult situations. Okay, next meaning, noun, physical connection between the electrons of two or more atoms. So this is in chemistry. So for example, you've got, when you have water, you have 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 of oxygen, and the thing that holds them together, the force that holds those 3 atoms together, is a bond. So 2 examples. The chemical bond between these 2 atoms breaks only at extremely high temperatures. Second and last, in chemistry class this week, we learned the difference between single bonds and double bonds. Next meaning, this one is a verb. It's to create a strong emotional connection. 3 meanings. 2. 1. Often, men bond by doing things together, playing sports, playing cards, or watching movies, while women often bond by talking. Second and last, do you agree that the things men and women do to bond with each other are usually different? Next meaning, a type of investment where the organization that receives your money promises to pay a certain amount of the money back in a certain amount of time. So you've got 2 types of bonds. Usually you've got government bonds and corporate bonds. 4 meanings here. 4 examples, 1. This bond bears an interest rate of 2% and matures in 18 months. So when a bond matures, it reaches the end of its term, the end of its time, and then you are paid back. So if a bond has a term of, 18 months, it matures, at 18 months, and at 18 months they give you your money back. So again, I'll read that sentence. This bond bears an interest rate of 2% and matures in 18 months. Second example. Before buying a bond, always check its rating to understand how reliable the bond is. Third example. Her investments consist of a mix of corporate bonds, government bonds, cash, and stocks. Fourth example. And last. During the Second World War, the U.S. government sold war bonds to its citizens to help pay for the war. Oh, one other meaning here. Not meaning, but a collocation. A junk bond. A junk bond is a bond where the people who own it probably are not going to pay you back. So, next meaning, 1512, hire. That's a verb, H-I-R-E. So, the first meaning is to give someone a job. And how many meanings we got here? 6 examples. I keep mixing up and saying examples and meanings. Sorry, it's been a long day, honestly, and a long week. I took a very long, hot bike ride today, and my brain is a bit scrambled. So, 6 examples. The first meaning is to give someone a job, and now we'll have the examples. 1. We hired her because of her long experience in the industry, and because of her knowledge of our company and its products. 2. The HR department took several weeks to decide which of the 6 candidates to hire. 3. Our company is growing, so we need to hire new employees in different departments. 4. I need to go back to work soon, so I will soon hire a babysitter to take care of my daughter while I'm at the office. Next, 5. He hired some men to paint his apartment. He later rehired one of the same men to cut his grass every weekend in the warm months of the year. 6th and last, I hired a tour guide to show me the most interesting parts of the city. Next meaning. This one is typical of Great Britain. It's not used often in this sense in the United States. And the meaning is to rent something for a short period of time. 2 examples. 1. The first thing they did after they landed was to hire a car. Second and last, I have an idea. Let's hire bikes this weekend and ride around the city. Next meaning, third meaning, and last, a person who has recently been given a job. 2 examples. 1. New hires were given passes to the building after they completed 3 days of training. Second and last, the recent hires need more training to do their jobs effectively. Next word is 1513. The word is whole, H-O-L-E. So the first meaning is an absence of material, usually shaped like a circle, in an object. So, first example. 1. There are 7 holes in a person's head. 1 for the mouth, 2 in the nose, 2 holes for the eyes, and 2 holes for the ears. 2. Some Swiss cheeses have holes in them. 3. He made a small hole in the wall so he could watch what the people in the other room were doing. 4. She cut several holes in the long piece of wood so she could stand her pens and pencils in the holes. 5. There are lots of holes in the road. I wish someone would fill them so we can all drive more easily. 6. Dogs like to dig holes and hide bones in them. 7th and last, we really need to patch the hole in our house's roof before the next time it rains. So if you patch a hole, it means that you cover the hole. Actually, there are several more examples, 3 of them. So, 1, well, actually we're now at 7. There is a deep hole in the ground where the bomb exploded. 8. Don't use that cup. It has a small hole in it. 9th and last, if a tire has a hole in it, you don't necessarily have to replace the tire with a new one. You can simply patch the hole with a small piece of material. So, next meaning of whole is the absence of something. This is kind of an abstract meaning, and we've got 5 examples. 1. There are holes in my memory of what happened last night. I think maybe I drank too much. That does not apply to me. 2. The economic crisis left a huge hole in the country's budget. 3. I don't believe her. There are too many holes in her story. 4. The death of our dear dog left a hole in our life that we have yet to fill. 5th and last, there are a few holes in my schedule, so yes, I think we can meet sometime. Next word, 1514, tie, T-I-E. It means to connect two things to each other using rope, cable, string, etc. And we've got 5 different examples. 1. She tied the boat to a tree on the shore using a thick piece of rope. 2. The bank robbers tied everyone inside the bank to chairs while they stole the money. 3. I learned to tie my shoes when I was 6 years old. 4. He tied his dog to a tree and left it there for a few minutes while he went to buy some drinks in the store. 5th and last, if you're going to work on a boat, you need to learn to tie and untie several different types of knots. Second meaning of tie, a piece of formal clothing, usually worn by men, that hangs down around the neck. 4 examples. 1. If you're going to a serious job interview, you need to wear a suit and tie. 2. I'm 25 years old and still don't know how to tie a tie. Every time I need to do it, I have to watch a video on the internet. Also not true of me. 3. Most men nowadays prefer long ties to bow ties. What's a bow tie? Bow tie is one of those ties that someone wears. It's not a long one, and it's shaped kind of like a butterfly, which is what it's called in some languages. 4th and last example of this meaning. A brightly colored tie is a way to make formal clothing look more interesting. 3rd meaning of tie, connections between people or organizations. In other words, relationships. This is formal sounding. 1. Ties between the two governments broke down because of disagreements about trade policy. 2. We are building stronger ties with several different countries in the region to fight terrorism. 3. Several newspapers stated that the governor had ties to organized crime. He, of course, denied the claim. 4. Ties between the cities grew when a new railroad connecting them was built. 5. I don't live in Florida anymore, but I still have many family ties to the state. 6. Just because there are strong cultural ties between two countries does not mean that their governments will have a good relationship. 7th and last, when two governments forge ties, it is often to fight against a common enemy. When you forge ties, you create them. It sounds very serious, like a long-term connection, or bond, if you want to refer back to word 1511. And last meaning of tie, this one is to depend on, and in this case, tie is, it's an adjective, tied to, T-I-E-D. So, 2 examples. 1. The price of oil is tied to a number of factors, just one of which is the volume of oil produced. 2. Your grades are tied not just to the tests that you take, but also to the homework you do, the presentations you give in class, and your level of participation in class as well. Next word, 1515, internal. This is an adjective, and it is used to talk about something that is inside of something. So, first example. What do you do? I sell internal organs on the black market. Nice to meet you too. Example 2. The company is performing an internal investigation to see who has been stealing money. 3. When most people talk about migration or immigration, they think of the movement of people between countries. However, there is also a lot of internal immigration, and it is caused by the same factors. 4. Management prefers internal hires to external ones because they already know these people's strong and weak points. 5. Many countries have an official policy of not influencing other countries' internal affairs. 6. When one country has internal problems, other countries often try to take advantage of the situation. 7. The patient came to the hospital with serious internal bleeding caused by a car accident. eighth and last, the company went out of business because of internal factors, poor management, lack of new products, and bad service. Next word, 1516. Chain. Chain. So a chain is, this is a noun, and a chain is a long line made of pieces of metal that are connected to each other. You can find chains on bicycles and motorcycles and so on. So, example 1. The chain on a motorcycle attaches to its rear wheel and pulls it forward. 2. He bought his wife a gold chain for her birthday. 3. I put a lock and chain on the front door so no one could enter. 4. I oiled the chain on my bike because it was very dry. 5. She wears a silver chain around her neck when she goes to parties. 6. The chain on my motorcycle was so old that it broke or snapped while I was riding. Fortunately, I was able to fix the chain and ride the rest of the way home. 7. When our car stopped working, a truck came to help us. The driver got out of the truck, attached the front of his car to the back of his truck with a chain, and drove us to the nearest service center. 8. The workers in the supermarket hung the sign from the ceiling with 2 strong chains. 9. Every chain is made up of a long line of links or individual pieces of a chain. If a chain is too long, you need to break the chain and remove some links. If a chain is too short, you need to break the chain and add some links. After you finish lengthening the chain or shortening the chain, you need to reconnect the links. 10. The sign hung from the ceiling from 2 chains. 11. The prisoners who were working outside couldn't run away because they were attached by chains to heavy metal balls. The ball and chain kept the prisoners from running away. And I think that's enough for chain in that meaning. The second meaning of chain is a group of businesses that are all managed by the same people and that sell the same products or services. Now, in some languages you might call this a net, but in English we call it a chain. So, 1. McDonald's is the world's biggest restaurant chain and was founded in the 1950s. 2. Some people like chain restaurants because they feel so familiar. Wherever you go, they serve more or less the same food and drinks. Others think that chains are boring and lack character. 3. Many international bank chains are managed from offices in London, New York, and Hong Kong. 4. Pizza Hut is one of the world's largest pizza chains. 6. In the restaurant industry, chains have become very popular. Other industries, for example, car repair services, however, have resisted or defied the trend towards chains. And the last example, does your country have any national chains? Does your region have any local chain restaurants? Okay, next meaning of chain. This is a verb, to tie someone or something with a chain. We've got 5 examples. 1. The prisoner was chained to the wall for hours. 2. She chained her motorcycle to a post and then went into the bar. 3. It's wrong to leave a dog chained in one place for many hours at a time. They should be allowed to run free most of the time. 4. She chained the door closed so no one would enter. 5. The police chained my hands and feet so I couldn't run or use a weapon. Again, not about me. All these sentences that I write using the word I, well, they're not always about me. They're just examples. I don't drink much. I don't get caught by the police and need to be chained to a wall. Nothing like that happens. 1517, next word, literature. This is a noun. It's uncountable, and it is text that is written to be beautiful or interesting. First example. Literature includes both poetry and prose. 2. This semester, we are studying English literature of the early 20th century. 3. What do you do? I'm a literature critic. I read literature and then write what I like or don't like about it. 4. Stable, happy countries tend not to produce much memorable literature. 4. In our world literature class this month, we are reading a sample of Russian literature from the 19th century. 5. In order to write literature, you have to first have taste in it. 6. And last, what is your favorite period or century in literature? Next meaning, a little bit less common, but text that is about technical, academic, or other specialized topics. We've got how many meanings or examples? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples. A little bit longer examples, though. 1. Before the internet, companies would send paper sales literature to potential customers. Now, almost all sales literature is in the internet. 2. There's a small but growing literature on why small countries are often able to beat larger ones in armed conflict. So, literature in this case is academic articles again. 3. After working for years with analytical, academic literature, his ability to write poetry mostly disappeared. 4. Before buying a product, I always first read the sales literature about it and then also reviews of the product in the internet. 5. And last, the literature on the Second World War is so large or so extensive that it's not clear if anything more can really be added to it. Next word, 1518, victim. It's a noun. A victim is someone who has been hurt by another person or by a bad situation. 1. The murderer's victims were all young men between the ages of 20 and 25. 2. The victims of the bombing include not just those who died, but also the family members they left behind. 3. The very young and the very old are the most likely to become victims of wintertime illnesses such as the flu. 4. Among the victims of the airplane crash were 20 volunteers who were traveling to bring medical aid to the country. 5. The exact number of victims of the earthquake is still unknown. Actually, looking at this word, I have a lot more examples. It's kind of depressing. I think 5 examples is enough for this particular word. Let's move on to number 1519. Actually, that word is threaten. Also not a super happy word, but, well, that's reality. Some things kind of suck. So, when you threaten someone, you make that person feel afraid, or you try to make that person afraid by telling them that you can or will do something to hurt them physically or emotionally. Examples. 1. The bank robber used a gun to threaten everyone in the bank. 2. I gave her my money because she threatened me with a knife. 3. If you threaten me again, I will kill you, so please stop. Well, that also is threatening. 4. The boss threatened him with dismissal if he didn't stop coming to work 10 minutes late every day. 5. He threatened the few people who knew about his crimes into silence, which is why the police never found him. So that's a little bit of a phrase. Threaten someone into silence. That means that you threaten them so they don't say anything. Threaten someone into silence. 6. The environmental crisis threatens every person on the planet, but very few seem to be reacting to it. 7. She threatened us with the exposure of all of our secrets. 8. Instead of working hard, he got what he wanted by threatening others. That's actually enough of that. Let's move on to the next meaning. To be about to do something that is very dangerous or harmful. So this is something very similar meaning, but it's not done by a person. So first meaning, the burning car threatened to explode at any moment, so everyone ran from it as quickly as possible. 2. The river threatened to flood because of the heavy and continuous rain, so everyone who lived near it left for higher ground. 3. The burning building threatened to collapse at any minute, but the firefighters went in anyway to save the people inside. 4. The Ebola virus threatened to spread to several other neighboring countries, so more doctors were sent to stop it. That happened, as I recall, in 2014. Right now it's 2024, and what's threatening to spread to several other countries is Mpox, also happening, unfortunately, in Africa. And next example. Keep doing that. Wow. Next example. The whole banking system threatened to collapse until the government closed markets for 1 week and added more cash into the system. Last example. The forest fire threatened to spread to residential areas, so firefighting planes were called in to stop it. Last word for today, 1520, division. So division is the mathematical process of breaking larger numbers into smaller ones, equal parts. So 12, for example, 12 divided by 4 is 3. That's a process of division. 3 examples. 1. In our second grade math class, we first learned how to do simple division, or division of small numbers. For example, 12 divided by 4. The next year, we learned how to do long division, or the division of larger numbers. For example, 152 divided by 63. Second example, I hate doing division myself, so I always use a calculator. 3. The young math students practiced division for several weeks before taking a test on it. Next meaning and last meaning of the last word for today. So, a division is a very large group of soldiers who all fight together under the same commander. So a division is smaller than an entire army. You might have one army, which is the entire army, and then in an army you might have, 3 or 4 divisions. So, 4 examples. 1. The government is sending or deploying a second division to the Pacific. 2. The Army is training a new airborne division, or armored division, or infantry division, or tank division. Lots of different types of divisions. 3rd, he served in the Army's most elite division for over 10 years. 4th and last, as part of the budget reductions, the Army is eliminating one entire division. Okay, that's all for today. As I think you can see, there are lots of meanings for these words. Some of them might be unexpected. Some of them you probably already know and just thought, I haven't thought of that one in a while. That's what the NGSL is like, and that's what English vocabulary is like generally. The words have more meanings than you typically think they do. So, thanks everyone for listening. I hope this was useful for you, and I will see you all next Monday, as I always do.